Hello, folks. This is Greg Gilbert, host of Python's Paradise, here to continue the 1996 in film. Whereas we're right now in October, Halloween month, and I picked 5 films per month to talk about, the ones I most anticipated and what I thought about them when I was done with them. And of course, the rating system goes from A plus to F. And A, you're pretty much awesome. If you're a B, you're better than expected. C, could be better. D, don't see it. And F, you're fucked. The 5 films that we're going to be talking about will be Bound with Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon. That's who I was trying to think of. She was sexy in this. We're also going to be talking about Freeway with Reese Witherspoon and Kiefer Sutherland. On from that, we got Swingers with Vince Vaughn and Jon Favreau. And we have High School High with John Lithgow. That's not it. Holy shit, why am I blanking on the guy's name that is in this fucking movie? John Lovett. Finally, and Tia Curry. And we have, finally, we got Thinner, based on the Stephen King book, with Robert John Burke and Joe Mantegna. And we're going to go from bottom to top, based on what my thoughts are. And at the very bottom of this list is High School High, which I'm sad by that, because that was the film of the month I was most anticipating. Because, like with Spy Hard months earlier, I love slapstick comedy. I love humor like that, and I'm drawn to it. What I hate, though, is comedies that get sentimental and the humor drains out of it. And that's exactly what happens with this shit show. High School High stars John Lovett, who gets sent to teach at an inner city school. There's a couple of funny jokes, where he puts the club on his steering wheel, and when he turns, he notices the car's gone, the club's still there. Okay. Probably the funniest joke in the movie is the vending machine, where instead of pop and stuff like that coming out, a bottle of booze comes out with the paper bag. I have to say that was the biggest laugh I got out of the film. He goes in there, and of course all the students are doing all kinds of criminal activity, and of course there's undercover drug scheme things, like The Substitute with humor, except The Substitute had a little thing called character. And everything from the chalkboard to the floorboards, everything is just falling apart. John Lovett, I'll say this, he tries. He's no Leslie Nielsen, but he tries. Tia Curry, I hope I said her name right, as the another teacher / love interest. She's as cardboard as they get. She's just there as a romantic prop. There's nothing to her. When you look at Priscilla Presley in the Naked Gun movie, she's not only got depth, but she's funny. Tia is not allowed to be funny here. And you want me to tell you a big problem with this movie? Nobody, save for Loveth for a few little jokes, nobody's funny. I do like it when they're at at a sock op or whatnot, and they're playing all this hip hop music, and John Lovett puts on Rhinestone Cowboy, turns and is just a party killer, and next thing you know, they're at the turntable, ripping it across there. Rapping with Rhinestone. I found that fun. Like, there's moments in here, but then you get the student that feels out of place, and Loveth is helping him to do better. And I'm sitting there thinking, why this is not funny, and it's getting sentimental, and it drained all the humor out of the movie. I wish this movie was as fun as my anticipation for it. I give it a D. Don't see it. Watch the Naked Gun movies and see it done better. Next up on the list, we've got like a three-way tie, because the next one's all up on the list. All have an A minus. Yes, we got some good stuff lined up here. I think the next one I'll talk about is Thinner. A lot of people didn't like Thinner. I did. Because it's like the opposite of The Nutty Professor from earlier in the year. From June, you know. This one here's about a guy that's losing weight. Robert John Burke gets into an accident where a woman is killed. An elderly woman is killed. Problem is, her husband is a gypsy. And when he is let off the hook, and the DA and the lawyers and all them let him off the hook, he puts a curse on them, including him. And his curse is that the more he eats, the more he loses weight. And at first, he thinks this is a great joy until he realizes, gee, he's fucked. And he's getting thinner. What I liked about this film, a lot of people didn't like it. I did. I saw this at the old Twin Cinemas. And I really liked the backwards concept of it. And Robert John Burke was really good in the lead. You know, he's got to figure out a way to try to appease the gypsy. And I cannot pronounce the last name of the gypsy, but he was so funny in My Big Fat Greek Wedding as the father, you know. Here he's playing an evil gypsy, so... But nonetheless, he gets some help from Joe Mantegna of Criminal Minds fame as somebody who's going to help him strike back. Because, you know, he helped Joe Mantegna, case. I guess Robert John Burke's a lawyer, you know. So he helped him with a case that got him off. So Joe is going to help him wreak revenge and get that curse removed. And it's a good role for Joe Mantegna. He's you know, that could have been just a nothing role, and he definitely is effective in it. You got the lovely Fairuza Balk, who's perfect, playing a gypsy's daughter in this. I'm not totally satisfied with the ending of the film, but that's just me. But I did like it, and it's not terribly scary, but I like the questions it asks. So I give the film an A minus. I enjoyed it. The next one up I got to talk about is Bound. Bound. We did not get that in our theaters, but I wish we had of. It's from the Wachowski brothers before they did the Matrix movies. And boy, this film is brutal. It's basically what they call a lesbian thriller. Although the lesbians in questions, played by Jennifer Tilly and Gina Gershon, are fantastic. You know, Tilly is involved with Chaz Palminteri, who is a mobster type guy where money goes missing, and there's going to be heads rolling. And some of the torture scenes in this are a little much, you know. I don't need extreme brutal violence for you to get a point across, you know. But Tilly is a bit timid. She's afraid of Palminteri, and she needs to find refuge. And she finds out with Gina Gershon, who's basically in another building painting and getting things prepared. My favorite role in the film is Gina Gershon, because she's tough as nails. And she has a scene where she's tied up in a closet and she has to break out. Takes a nice dive out through that door. But nonetheless, they have to figure out how to get out of this situation with their lives intact. It's stylish, it's fairly low budget, but that's not a knock against it. It's not Matrix money. But you know what? I like the film a lot, and it certainly promises bigger things, which they got with The Matrix. I give Bound an A-. Check it out if you like a good crime thriller, especially a female-led one. And the females in this film are believable, they're gutsy, but not over the top. So an A-. The next film I'm going to talk about, we also did not get in our theaters. I don't have my list right in front of me, so I don't know whether I gave this an A or an A-, so bear with me, folks. Because I got Don't Be a Menace to South Central back in January wrong. I mentioned on here an A-. I actually got an A. So, you flip up like that. But, I mean, it's not like they're not in the same category. And A or A- or not, Freeway was a great movie, And it's got pre-election, pre-legally blonde Reese Witherspoon in it, who's pretty much a foster kid, being dumped into houses, and after her parents go astray, so to speak. That's all I can say about that. And she gets into a situation where she is in jail, in prison. And how she get there? She gets picked up hitchhiking by Kiefer Sutherland, who tries to kill her. And she ends up turning the tables on him. Problem is, the courts sympathize with him. He's got a wife and kids. Of course, the wife played by Brooke Shields. And they don't know about what he's doing on the side. So he gets off the hook, and she goes to prison. She meets Amanda Plummer and others, and she gets trained to be tough, and she makes a break. And when she makes a break, she's going after Kiefer Sutherland. And Kiefer Sutherland was in a film back in January of the year called Eye for an Eye, and I hated his role in that movie because you don't see him commit the crime, even though you know he's guilty. But because Sally Field character says he's guilty, we're supposed to just go with it. And I would have liked it if they played with more mystery with that, as opposed to just making this guy just a flat-out villain, Well, in Freeway, we know he's guilty, but I like what they do with the character and how he manipulates the law and manipulates his way with his family and through this whole case and through life. I also love how Reese Witherspoon, she plays a good, tough girl in this for being extremely young, very naive, but she has a situation where she's going to come up over top of this guy. I won't say how this film ends, but it's very satisfying. So I don't remember whether to give this an A or an A-. But either way, they're not that far apart from each other. So take it from me, if you're a big Reese Witherspoon fan, check it out. She's got guts and glory in this film. However, the best film of October of 1996 is Swingers, a film we did not get in our theaters, and one that I just discovered mere months ago. And it was kind of a film right up my alley, so I bought it on Blu-ray, and I loved it. It's kind of almost like could play a double billing with something like The Hangover. Jon Favreau plays this very depressed male who's down on his luck. His girlfriend had broke up with him, and he's very depressed about it. Vince Vaughn plays this womanizing friend of his that he and Favreau want to be actors, and he takes Favreau to Las Vegas so they can track down women and have some fun. Except Favreau is just not going for it. He's too depressed, and I get that. When you break up with somebody, the last thing you want is somebody else in their place. You need to get over the pain, but Vince Vaughn's character just doesn't seem to grasp that. Yeah, Ron Livingston in this too, pre-Office Space, playing one of his more sensible friends who's also a wannabe actor. And yeah, all the friends are in the acting business, which is something I can't relate to, but I can relate to the inner struggle and dealing with heartache. And some of the women in this film are interesting. Heather Graham, in particular, who Favreau ends up kind of striking up a friendship with. But that's not to say this film is predictable, because this film hits a 1, 2, 3 punch with its ending, and how Favreau handles a certain situation. And I won't give that away, but I just cheered at it. I said, I'd like Devade to be, I want to arrive at that spot myself. So I give Swingers an A+. Check it out. Early work for Jon Favreau, early work for Vince Vaughn. And very enjoyable, easily one of the best films of the year, let alone comedies. So there you go. Next we'll be swinging into November. But until then, check out Swingers, or go on the Freeway and get thinner. This is Python, signing